transmission of manual certificates of canvass coming from voting centers abroad. Now, who is leading the race? Based on the partial official tally as of Sunday, which matches the results from Comelec's media transparency server, actor Robin Padilla maintains the top spot at 26.49 million votes. He is followed by Representative Loren Legarda with 24.18 million and broadcaster Rafi Tulfo at 23.34 million votes. Also in the Magic 12, we have Win Gatchalian, Cheese Escudero, Mark Villar, Alan Cayetano, Mig Zubiri, Joel Villanueva, JV Ejercito, Risa Ontiveros, and Jinggoy Estrada. Instead of by rank, they will be proclaimed alphabetically. A Comelec official offers this explanation.
Remaining votes that yet to be submitted or transmitted will not affect the Magic 12. Maari lang po magka-apekto sa standing but not the winning senators po. That's why we're confident to proclaim the 12 on May 18, 4 p.m.
Crucial votes coming from Hong Kong, Macau, and mainland China totaling 70,000 are in and were canvassed this afternoon, as well as over 86,000 votes cast by manual voting from 63 barangays in North Cotabato. Only one out of 173 certificates of canvass has not been transmitted. That's from Lanao del Sur with over 680,000 voters. 14 barangays will hold special elections. The first is in Tubaran Town and will be held on May 24th. Winning senators will be welcomed with a large backdrop outside the PICC tent and a red carpet. They may bring up to 5 guests with them. In the meantime, the Comelec will proclaim the first set of winners in the party list race on Thursday, while those ranked lower will have to wait until more votes are in due to the small margins. Back to you, Pia.
Mel, speaking of the party list, there are the likes of former Comelec Commissioner Rowena Guanzon claiming victory, early victory, in the party list race. Is her group part of that partial proclamation? What does the Comelec say about that?
That's right, Pia. It's actually more complicated at the moment. First, unlike the very decisive figures in the Senate race, the party list is too close to call at the moment. There are 63 seats up for grabs, but the margins are not so sizable. So actually, acting Comelec spokesman Rex Laudianco advises groups not to celebrate too early and wait for the results to become official. And to add, actually, Commissioner Guanzon is not yet an official nominee of the P3 PWD party list, although she claims that she will be a sitting congresswoman. Attorney Laudianco says any substitutions like what is being floated for her will need to go through hearings and approved by the commission before anything else. So we can see from here. Pia.
Melissa Lopez there reporting. The first cousin of leading presidential contender Bongbong Marcos is expected to become the House Speaker of the incoming 19th Congress more than 2 months before the formal election of the next speaker takes place. Leyte Congressman Ferdinand Martin Romualdez has clinched the support of the emerging supermajority in the House of Representatives. Cian Arcangel reports.
Just 3 days after the May 9 elections, the National Unity Party endorsed as next Speaker House Majority Leader and Leyte Congressman Ferdinand Martin Romualdez. What followed was a series of endorsements from other political parties, such as the Nacionalista Party, Nationalist People's Coalition, and PDP Laban. Romualdez's own party, Lakas CMD, also backed his speakership bid, as well as the party-list coalition, which will have around 60 members. Also crucial were the endorsements that Romualdez received from former President and returning Pampanga Congresswoman Gloria Macapagal Arroyo and the congressman's nephew, neophyte Ilocos Norte Representative Sandro Marcos. Arroyo briefly became speaker during a leadership coup in 2018 that ousted Davao del Norte Congressman Pantaleon Alvarez from the top post. With over 220 out of the estimated 316 members of the incoming 19th Congress supporting Romualdez, the election of a new speaker on July 25 is expected to be a formality. NUP spokesperson Reginald Velasco says the party never considered any other contender for speaker apart from Romualdez. He says Romualdez has the track record as majority leader.
Unanimous agad eh. Yun agad ang lumabas na pangalan sa mga internal discussions namin kagabi. So, yun na lang ang nilabas namin kasi wala namang lumabas na ibang pangalan during our consultations. They believe that pag naging speaker to, open house din yung office of the speaker will be open to all political parties.
Romualdez has vowed to work harder to pass the priority measures of his cousin, presidential frontrunner Bongbong Marcos. He also said he will be seeking advice from experts and his colleagues to help him do his job well.
We are actually going to continue with all of the amelioration programs that have been started in aid of the pandemic response. We will continue with all the economic measures to help reinvigorate our economy.
With Romualdez poised to become speaker, all eyes will be on who will clinch other top house posts, such as the majority and minority leadership and chairmanships of key committees. Cian Arcangel, CNN Philippines.
From the House of Representatives to the Senate, who will be the next Senate President and third in line of succession? 3 are vying for the post, which will be vacated by Senator Tito Soto in June. In a text message to CNN Philippines, Senator Sonny Angara shares that 2 colleagues have reached out to him expressing their interest to lead the chamber. They are Senate Majority Leader Mig Zubiri and Senator Cynthia Villar. Angara says he's hoping Zubiri and Villar will be able to reach an agreement. A third contender, Senator Win Gatchalian, said last week that he's already courting colleagues and asking for their support as he eyes the Senate presidency. Senator Bato de la Rosa has expressed support for Villar. Senator Grace Poe said she's hoping the next Senate president will maintain the Senate's integrity and independence, but she has not disclosed her choice. The Senate shall elect its president by a majority vote of all its members. The Senate president serves as presiding officer and leader of the majority group. Meanwhile, Senator Joel Villanueva said he's open to joining the minority. Senator Coco Pimentel earlier said he's still torn between staying the majority or joining Senator Risa Ontiveros in the minority. A historian who served in the administration of the late former President Noynoy Aquino raises the alarm over what appears to be a sudden takedown of the Presidential Museum and Library website. Former Presidential Communications Development Undersecretary Manuel Quezon III tweeted that malacanang.gov.ph is no longer accessible. The Presidential Museum and Library is tasked to preserve and promote the history of Malacanang, which includes the martial law regime under the late dictator Ferdinand Marcos. But Quezon clarified there could be other reasons why the website might be deleted, such as someone wanting the online real estate for other government purposes or the lack of interest in a museum site. Up next on Newsnight, can small businesses afford a minimum wage increase at this time? One official calls on the government to exempt these establishments. And are we seeing a new dynasty in the UAAP with the UP Fighting Maroons victory? Details when we come back. You're watching Newsnight on CNN Philippines. Some good news for motorists. Several oil companies are welcoming the new work week with a rollback. Beginning tomorrow, diesel prices will be cheaper by 3 pesos and 10 centavos a liter, and gasoline prices by 40 centavos a liter. Fewer firms are slashing kerosene prices, now costing 2 pesos and 10 centavos per liter. Less per liter. This marks the 5th price rollback this year. After 15 price increases, other oil firms have yet to announce price adjustments. Wage orders have been issued to raise the base pay in 2 regions, Metro Manila and Western Visayas. But as Tristan Odalo reports, a presidential advisor believes small businesses should be exempted from the hike.
Citing the health crisis and impact of the Ukraine-Russia war, Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship Joey Concepcion calls for the exemption of micro-enterprises from the minimum wage adjustment.
Yung mga business establishment with employees 10 or below, they can apply for exemption. Kahit na malaking business enterprise, kung naging biktima ng mga calamities, they can also apply for exemption.
A wage board official says only the retail and service sectors are allowed to file for exemption, as a blanket exemption for MSMEs is unlikely under the law.
Meron naman din kasing mga micro-enterprises na na nag-flourish during the pandemic, and therefore yung mga manggagawa nila ay dapat makinabang din doon sa naging productivity gains.
1 million workers will benefit in the capital region and over 200,000 in Western Visayas.
12 regions na po. In the process of which deliberations. Wala ko akong listahan ngayon, but I'm pretty sure na in the coming days or maybe next week, magkakaroon po ng mga decisions ang mga ito at lalabas na rin ho iyon.
In the meantime, the Labor Department refutes claims that around 20,000 overseas workers bound for Saudi Arabia have been stranded due to the deployment ban.
We are very strict already in the compliance of employment, verified employment. At saka yung hindi muna tayo magpapadala ng mga bagong household service workers.
Okay, so estimate...
At hindi nila nababayaran yung 11,000 Filipino workers natin na 2 taon na nagtrabaho na hindi nasweldohan. 5 years, magsi-6 years na.
Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello says OFW should only listen to DOLE advisories amid the confusion brought about by Migrant Workers Secretary Abdullah Mamao's order that lifted the deployment ban. The Labor Department maintains that the deployment ban for newly hired workers to Saudi Arabia aims to protect them against abusive recruiters and employers. And the government does not want to repeat the fate of some 11,000 unpaid workers who work in Saudi Arabia. Tristan Odalo, CNN Philippines.
Global headlines now. A historic move from Sweden and Finland, which have declared their intention to join NATO. Finland has been neutral since the Soviet invasion after World War II. Its decision would bring the U.S.-led military alliance up to its 830-mile border with Russia. Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned Finland abandoning military neutrality would be a mistake. Sweden will also work towards seeking NATO membership. Its Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson says the European security order is now under attack after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Sweden has refrained from joining the bloc for 200 years for geopolitical reasons. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said their door is open to Finland and Sweden. And over in the U.S. state of New York, a white 18-year-old gunman has admitted he was targeting the black community in the deadliest mass shooting in the U.S. this year. Suspect Peyton Gendron killed 10 people and wounded 3 others in Buffalo on Saturday. 11 of those shot were black, including an ex-police officer who tried to stop Gendron. 2 people remain hospitalized. The COMELEC has approved in principle the appeal for additional honoraria for poll workers who worked extra hours on election day because of malfunctioning vote counting machines. It did not disclose the exact amount. Teachers have long been appealing for higher pay, one of the challenges VP frontrunner Sara Duterte would face once she becomes education chief. Stanley Gaheta spoke to some teachers about pressing problems in the education system.
For mathematics teacher Maria Josefa Ventula, the best reward in her 29 years of service is to see former students succeed as professionals.
Ang isang fulfillment ng isang pagiging guro ay makakita ka sa mga estudyante mo, magaganda na ang pinalalagyan, mas magaganda na ang katayuan sa akin. Yun naman yung kaligayahan ng isang guro.
But despite the critical role of education in molding young people's minds, the sector is still regarded as low priority.
Siyempre, importante yung salary. Isa pa, mga instructional materials, mga international seminars. Dapat inaano talaga yung mga guro niyan. At least, ini-expose sila sa mga ganon. Kailangan din talaga, lalo na ngayong online, kailangan ang parent involvement. Napaka-importante po yan.
Ventula identifies some of the reasons why Philippine education is lagging behind other countries.
Kung sinong nasa mababa, yan pumupunta sa pagtuturo. Ano na yung ine-expect mong product kung ganun ang mga pumupunta sa teaching? Kasi magagaling ngayon nandun na sa IT, nandun na sa accountancy, kasi yun yung mga in demand, and aside from that, higher salary.
She says the limited opportunities in education sector is also a major problem.
Taon-taon nagkakaroon ng mga graduate ng education. Yearly, libo-libong graduate of education ang napapagraduate. Pero hindi lahat yan nakakapasok. Bakit? May security of tenure ang guro, hindi mo pwede maalis yan hanggat hindi nagsi-65. Kakapagpapasa ng mga let, nasaan sila? Sila'y pumupunta sa mga BPOs. Bakit? Wala nang mga items sa loob ng mga eskwelahan.
Meanwhile, Noel Meneses, a social studies teacher for 21 years, blames the excessive use of social media for disrupting the learning process of students.
Kasi ang AP sa panahon ngayon, sir, lalo na mga bata ngayon, para sa kanila boring. Talagang lack of knowledge sila when it comes into history.
He said he was disappointed when students asked him about the relevance of history in their lives.
Natanong na ako ng estudyante ko dyan, sir, bakit kailangan natin pag-aralan yan? Patay na yung mga taong yan.
These two teachers know very well the flaws in the education sector and how each one of us could contribute to improve the performance of Filipino learners.
Sana ang call namin babaan ang retirement age ng guro. Bakit? Kasi para itong mga batang papasok, mga batang pumapasa ng LET, ay magkakaroon naman ng chance ang makapasok. Sana, kung sino man ang makaupo ngayon, sana bigyan naman ng pansin ang sektor namin na napapabayaan.
After the elections, will the next administration provide a more decent life and better treatment for Filipino teachers? They can only hope and pray. Stanley Guete, CNN Philippines.
Still on Newsnight, highlights of CNN Philippines chat with the UP Fighting Maroons, still on a high from their historic UAAP victory. And from the UAAP to the SEA Games, gymnast Carlos Yulo bags not just 1, but 4 gold medals. You're watching CNN Philippines. Welcome back. In the NBA, the Dallas Mavericks are off to the Western Conference Finals. The team carried out an impressive upset, beating the Phoenix Suns in Game 7 of the semis, 123-90. The Mavericks will face the Golden State Warriors in the West Finals on Thursday, 9 a.m. Philippine time. But this season, there will be no back-to-back champions. The Boston Celtics dominated the Milwaukee Bucks 109-81 to secure them an East Finals ticket against the Miami Heat. This marks an end to the Bucks' title defense. Now back here at home and over in the UAAP, the UP Fighting Maroons celebrate after ending a 36-year title drought. UP beat Ateneo in Game 3 of the finals last Friday at the Mall of Asia Arena 72-69. Some members of the champion team, as well as the finals MVP from their last season victory, visited CNN Philippine Sports Desk, sharing secrets behind their winning dynamic.
Siyempre parang relationship lang din yun eh.
Yo!
Habang tumatagal, nagkakaproblema, naayos yung problema, naging matibay hanggang naging matibay yung relasyon sa isa't isa. Di naman maiwasan Kasi iba-iba rin yung kultura eh. Si Malik iba yung kultura, si James lumaki sa Australia, iba rin kultura, sila Xavier, iba rin kultura. Kami mga Bisaya, iba rin kultura. So, yun yung pinaka magandang nagawa ni Coach Gold na alam mo yun, kahit iba-iba yung kultura namin, ginawa niya ng paraan para maging isa yung kultura namin. So, siguro yun yung pinaka magandang nangyari sa amin kahit na nag-aaway-aaway, naaayos, tapos naging matibay yung team namin.
Tama yan, Carl.
Ang pinaka importante kasi sa akin is, kung the effort na ilalagay namin for this season, the kind of culture na gusto sana namin ma-instill sa team. Nakakatawa nga kasi kung titignan natin yung buong season from the start, marami kaming times na, during games na coming from behind, at the same time nakita natin na, they were never giving up for every game. They were really fighting for that game. That's one thing na talaga na, from the side na gusto namin ma-instill, o kami lahat as a team, ma-instill sa team namin, which nangyari naman, and nakakatuwang makita.
Ang alam naman natin, ang secret sa championship is recruitment, no? Being able to get the best and the right players for the team. Nung time namin, kami lang yung nagre-recruit for each other. Talagang we were all bedans, so nag-usap-usap kami, let's help UP win. And yun naman, buti naman in my 4 years in UP, we were able to get it, no? And ang wish ko lang sana it will not take 36 more years para manalo ulit, no? For this team. And naniniwala ako naman na it will not, no? Bata pa yung team. So I can see that they will win more titles.
Catch the replay of this Sports Desk special presentation, Amin To, the new UAAP champions, at 8 tonight. And stories of more champions, with the country earning its first gold in bowling at the Southeast Asian Games after 11 years. The Philippines ruled the men's singles bowling competition at the regional meet in Vietnam, courtesy of Merwin Tan. And just in, not 1 but 5 gold medals for gymnast Carlos Yulo. The star athlete came out on top in the men's vault final and men's horizontal bar today, adding to his wins in men's all-around floor exercise and rings. And defending champs Gilas Pilipinas kickoff matches facing 2019 rival Thailand. So far, Gilas is leading 75-73 in the fourth quarter. Find out if they will stretch their 2-decade winning streak. Visit our social media pages for the results. Pinoy athletes who take home a medal can look forward to cash prizes from the government, 300,000 pesos for gold, 150,000 pesos for silver, and 60,000 for bronze. So far, the Sports Commission is expected to shell out at least 18 million pesos in bonuses. The country's medal haul is now at 109, 25 of which are gold medals. As of this afternoon, the Philippines ranks 4th in the SEA Games after Indonesia, Thailand, and host Vietnam. And just in, what is it? 76-73 win of Gilas Pilipinas win over Thailand. And that is it for now. Join me again on News.ph at 7 p.m. I'm Pio Ontiveros for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
RPN, Radio Philippines Network Incorporated, DXKO. Prese sa Sinday Utso sa bayan sa inyong radyo. RPN DXKO, ang Radyo Ronda dili sa Dakbayan sa Cagayan de Oro. Sibiyahan na may galaon sa katawhan, andam mo serbisyo sa tanan. Ang RPN DXKO Radyo Ronda, sakop sa KBP, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Summer is finally here, and with eased COVID-19 restrictions, it's a great time to take up a sport. Stay active, keep healthy, and enjoy the summer season. On the program today, we'll talk about the different sports you can try and why they're good for your overall well-being. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and welcome to MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. From swimming to cycling, there's a summer sport out there that's right for you and your body. Now, our guests are here today to walk us through the different activities that you can enjoy. With us is Dr. Charles Arandia. He is an orthopedic surgeon and a sports medicine specialist from the Makati Medical Center. Also with us is Ige Lopez. He's an endurance coach and a seasoned athlete. Now, let's start with a sport that was made for the Philippines, which is swimming. Now, our country is overflowing with refreshing bodies of water, beautiful beaches, and wonderful pools. So swimming is an easy sport to pick up. Now, anyone at any age can take up swimming because it's relatively low impact and it has a number of physical and health benefits for that matter. Now, I'll start the discussion with Coach Ige. Coach Ige, when it comes to swimming, a lot of people are fearful of the water, but discuss some of the health benefits na meron ang swimming that may sway their decisions.
The good thing with swimming is it's non-weight bearing. So you can actually swim every day. You can swim long distances, morning and afternoon, without you feeling so tired and feeling so heavy on the legs. Kasi it's non-weight bearing. So non-impact siya sa tuhod, sa joints nyo. And then, of course, you have to learn how to be comfortable with the water first. But yeah, it's quite safe as long as you know the basic. And yes, you can definitely do it forever.
A lot of swimmers suffer cramps, which put them at risk for drowning. Dr. Charles, let's talk about that. Why do muscles cramp up? Ano bang cause ng cramps?
Typically, muscle cramps is caused by two main causes. One is you are dehydrated, so it's one of the most common cause of muscle cramps. Another one is you are overusing your muscles, so you're doing too much too soon. So basically, as far as sports is concerned, that's the two most common causes of cramps, which is dehydration and overuse.
Now, another summer sport that you can take up is scuba diving as well as free diving, because we have a backyard rich in marine biodiversity, and summer is the best time to take advantage of that. Now, when it comes to scuba diving and free diving, now we are going under the water and enjoying that biodiversity. Dr. Charles, when it comes to the human body going underwater, in scuba diving, we have that apparatus. With free diving, they are trying to go down deep with one breath of air. Are there any obvious risks that we should advise our viewers before they try and start enjoying any of these activities?
Of course, before you try to engage in this activity, it's actually a good step to have your doctors check you if you have any doubts regarding your health status, especially your lung and heart function when you're going to engage in scuba diving or free dive. If you have doubts about it, you can actually seek a clearance or an examination from your medical or lung doctor. Of course, the most common fears in diving is, apart from drowning, is the things that are related to nitrogen. You know, one example is nitrogen narcosis, wherein, of course, the diver is breathing compressed air, and the compressed air is composed not just of oxygen but also of nitrogen. So when nitrogen accumulates in your body, you tend to have this effects of intoxication similar to alcohol intoxication. So patients usually have at mild forms, it's good. You have you become less anxious, but eventually, if the nitrogen accumulates more, you become more clumsy, you lose coordination, and then sometimes you hallucinate. So that's actually a problem when you're in the middle of the dive.
Coach Ige, when it comes to these sports that require good breathing, how can we improve our lung health and our lung endurance for that matter?
Actually, yes. For swimming, there's a workout that's what we call yung hypoxic breathing, no? Hypoxic training. So you're limiting your oxygen intake. So for example, you're swimming every 2 strokes, you're breathing every 2 strokes, and then you start to improve, you work on it. You try to breathe every 3 strokes, and then every 5 strokes, and then every 7 strokes, until you can do 11, 12, or you can breathe one way from 50 meters, no breathing. So from there, by training and being consistent again with swimming and working out, then you will have an easier time breathing and more comfortable in the water.
One thing that is common with these sports, one benefit is that of flexibility. Dr. Charles, talk about flexibility for us. What does this actually mean? How does this improve the overall health of someone?
Flexibility, roughly, in layman's term, it's the ability of your body part to stretch out without injuring it. No? So it's flexibility of the muscles, the ligaments. So this is something that can be improved by engaging in sports. But of course, you also have to take into consideration, you just don't go into the sports. So you also have to improve your flexibility immediately before your event if you have to stretch. So you have to stretch before the sporting event. So flexibility is something that enables us to move without tearing our muscles, without tearing our ligaments. So it's actually essential for also for a good performance of any sporting event, no?
Now, Coach Ige, for someone who has low flexibility, what can you advise for someone who is unable, let's say, to touch their toes and they want to be flexible quick? Is this something that can happen quickly if you force yourself to be flexible?
When you work on your flexibility, it takes a lot of time. So for some who, when they stretch, usually when you do a warm-up, you don't do actual stretching. You do the dynamic warm-ups, mga jumping jacks, mga leg swings, mga ganon, no? Lunges, squats, but once after the workout, then you do your cool down with the stretching. So with that stretching, it will take some time, especially for people who do a lot of weight training kasi nawawala yung flexibility. So you have to focus on flexibility talaga. You have to put some like yoga sessions, deep mga 15 minutes stretching sessions, stretching routines after workouts. Try to do it 3, 4, 5 times a week kasi this is very essential, especially for aging athletes.
Now, similar to swimming, cycling is another low-impact sport that offers a wealth of benefits. When we return, we'll talk about why it's a great workout for this season. We're your partner in healthcare. You're watching MedTalk Health Talk. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez and welcome back to MedTalk Health Talk, where caring is our calling. Today, we're talking about summer sports and the many benefits these activities can offer your body as well as your mind. Now, in a city where traffic can be slow-moving, riding a bike is a convenient way to get around. It also offers a number of health benefits. Coach Ige, let's talk about some of the benefits that cycling naman can have because nauuso rin ito nowadays.
Well, on cycling, it's fun because you get to explore places you haven't been to. Compared to running, it's non-impact. So you can ride every day. You can ride hard and easy days. You can alternate it. And then the good thing with cycling is it's actually a social sport also. You can go with a group, with your family, with your friends. And then you get to travel. You get to travel, say, 100 kilometers in, say, 3 hours easily. So that's a lot of mileage to see, on a bike. And then Yeah, for now, especially during summer, you can definitely check it out.
Coach Ige, is cycling a sport that can be taken up by someone who has never been sporty or athletic their whole life?
Actually, yes, they can, as long as you do it conservatively. Nowadays, there are like e-bikes, electric bikes, pedal-assisted bikes that they can use if they have a hard time pedaling due to weight. But yes, of course, with cross-training, if you can do it with swimming, as well with biking, because both are non-impact sports, you can definitely use them for weight loss as well.
Now let's talk about some of the things that those who take up cycling as a sport should be aware about, and that is safety, of course. Now, Dr. Charles, when it comes to cycling, what are some of the more common injuries that people sustain kapag cycling ang involved?
The most common injuries, of course, it can be as simple bumps and bruises. But the more serious injuries is usually when they fall on an outstretched hand, they can fracture their wrist. It's called a Colles fracture or a Regis fracture, something here, somewhere around here. Or if they fall on their shoulder or even on a stretched hand, they could also fracture their collarbone. Those kinds of fracture are the more prevalent fractures in a cycling event.
Now, Dr. Charles, we can't stress here enough the safety that involves in this. Now, one of that is wearing a helmet, of course, when cycling. A lot of people are on opposite ends of this. Some people don't like how they look when they wear a helmet. Some people feel that it is constricting on their part. Masyado mainit kapag naka-helmet. Dr. Charles, are those wearing a helmet significantly reducing the risk of any head injuries or skull fractures for that matter?
If you wear a helmet, the incidence of head injury, I'm not talking about brain injury yet, okay? It's just the head injury, just like bumps and bruises or any laceration in your scalp. It actually gets reduced by 43%. So it's 43% lower. Now, if you go even deeper than that, like you talk about traumatic brain injury or the injury that's deeper, so it's the brain gets injured for the lay people, it goes down as far as it reduces it by 53%. So that figures just shows that it's really, really important. So it's actually a good convincing factor for the audience to really wear their helmet.
Now, Coach Ige, let's talk about those who have already gone past the usual biking and they want to be a little bit more competitive. What types of tips can you give those who want to get to that next level when it comes to cycling? They want to ride further. They want to ride with a better time at a certain distance. So how can they build that up? How can they build up their endurance?
To build overall fitness on a bike, they can just remember three things. You work on intervals, like short sessions, like 10 minutes of 1 minute sprint all-out effort. You can do tempo workouts, what you call sustainable effort. You can do it like 20-minute, 30-minute efforts. And then, of course, to build your endurance, you have to do some long rides once a week. That's a good 1 to 3 hours, depending on your goal. But those 3 workouts per week will definitely make you a better rider.
Running can be an intimidating sport, but it can improve your physical and mental health tremendously. When we return, we'll talk about some of these benefits and tips in starting a safe and enjoyable run. Your health is our mission here on MedTalk Health Talk. We'll be right back. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and this is MedTalk Health Talk. Running is one of the most popular exercises all year long. It doesn't cost a lot, you can run at any time of the day, and there are many health benefits to it. Now, Coach Ige, what are some of the benefits of running? And what is this runner's high that we always hear from seasoned runners?
Yes, well, running, it's the best, among the 3 sports that I do in triathlon, running is my favorite, because it's easily accessible. You can just head out and go for a run. You can do it every day as long as you're wary of the efforts and intensity. It's a great, if you want to lose weight, it's the best in burning calories. It's the most efficient. Running for 30 minutes can definitely make a big impact within your health. And then, of course, you have to learn the proper running form. If you don't have the proper running form, then things might not work to your liking. So it's best to know the proper form, have good running shoes, and then work on your progress and your endurance progressively.
Before you start running, it is advised to start walking first. Walk about 10 to 20 minutes every day until you feel comfortable with your breath and the pace. Then begin to slowly move faster when walking. If you're used to the faster pace, you can slowly begin jogging at a slow and moderate pace. Now, Coach Ige, when it comes to running, what are some of the common injuries that runners usually face? There's one that we hear of shin splints. Could you talk about that? And how can someone improve their running technique, their running endurance?
Yes, actually the pinaka-importante is on the foot, no? A lot of injuries happen on the foot because of improper shoes, and then also improper sudden surge of mileage, no? So if you're like, a lot of people will ginanahan, they try to run from 0 to hero, they target biglang 10K, you know? So you have to start progressively. Okay, and then don't forget to warm up properly and do cool down because of this, such as the shin splints. Shin splints naman usually occurs when you do a lot of hill work. You do a lot of uphill runs, which is nasa-stress yung shins nyo.
Now, Dr. Charles, since we're talking about running, not just running, but sports that include some form of running, maybe basketball or football, we hear of this ACL, MCL tears or these types of injuries. Could you talk more about this? How does it happen? Why does it happen?
It can happen in two ways. One is the athlete is trying to do too much too soon. Like they're not properly warmed up. You know, muscles that are not properly warmed up, they are more or less clumsy muscles, quote unquote. So no matter what you tell the muscle, it's not going to do what you're telling it to do. So that is actually a recipe for injury. So what usually happens, specifically for ACL injury, is they twist their knee while their foot is planted on the ground. So patients would usually say, Doc, umikot yung tuhod ko habang nakaapak yung paa ko.
Now, Coach Ige, with all of this information right now, what's your advice for our viewers who want to take up a new sport, try out a new sport in the summer, but at the same time, they want to remain safe, free from injury as much as possible?
Yes, well, for me, you have to choose a sport that you really love, one that you think you can do sustainably. Okay, like for example, if you like to do running, then you research on it, no, and then don't go for it immediately, like go hard or go take it easy, enjoy the journey, ask people from advice, look for a coach or check up on the internet, you know, Google things about what you can do, you know, and then research on gear. Yeah, that's the fun part, you know, trying to find a community also that will make you more interesting in that passion that you want to work on.
Dr. Charles, do you have any advice for our viewers, especially this summer season where a lot of people are going to be trying out different sports?
Now that the COVID restrictions are getting lighter, now is really the perfect time to really rekindle or reconnect with our athletic side. Or if we don't have any, this is the perfect time to start it, okay? So the good thing about exercise is summer sports, for that matter, is it makes you look better if that's your primary motivation. But apart from that, you would feel better about yourself, so mental well-being. Other than that is, of course, the obvious health benefits of exercise, especially aerobic exercise. Usually, you can lower your the bad cholesterol in your blood. You can increase the levels of your good cholesterol. Exercise can actually make your body burn the blood sugar more efficiently. It is very good for diabetics. So it also decreases blood pressure and improves your heart function. So apart from having fun, you have the benefit of getting healthy, being healthy. So it's a win-win situation. And it's also a way to meet new people. And it's a very, very big break from the mood of the pandemic, the sedentary lifestyle that we have been used to for the past 2 years. So now is really the perfect time to do sports.
Now, a tip for our viewers to stay injury-free is by scheduling in rest and recovery days as well as cross-training days. Mix running and jogging with low-impact activities like swimming and cycling to give your muscles a break. Also remember that if you'll be out in the sun doing these sports activities, keep in mind to protect yourself from sun damage as well so that you and your family can have a healthy and enjoyable summer season. Thank you, sports medicine specialist Dr. Charles Arandia and Coach Igel Lopez for being with us today and sharing your insights. We appreciate those very much. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and we'll see you again next time.